Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, Tiana's Cooking TV. Today I'm going to be making some delicious meatloaf cupcakes. So guys, make sure you stay tuned for the recipe. Okay guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is start off with my bell peppers. I have a red and a green bell pepper here. I am going to dice up my green bell peppers and I'm going to make sure that they are diced finely chopped. Now you can dice them up any way that you want to. If you like to have big chunks of peppers in your meatloaf, then that is totally fine. And I do like to use peppers in most of my recipes just because I think it gives it a really good flavor. So I'm going to be cutting up my red bell peppers as well, and you're going to make sure that they're finely chopped. And then I have a white onion here. I'm going to be dicing that up as well. Now I'm not going to be listing the recipe measurements for this recipe just because I don't like to measure. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up my fry pan with some oil, and then I'm going to saute my green red peppers and onions in that. And guys, you don't have to do this step. I just kind of decided to saute my vegetables. You can definitely put your vegetables in your meatloaf uncooked, and I did add in some chopped garlic. So I'm going to make sure that I cook this just for a few minutes just to kind of release the flavors of the garlic, peppers, and onions. And then so next I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning. I'm adding in some garlic powder and some pepper and some Sloppy Mama seasoning. Now I wouldn't add too much of the Sloppy Mama seasoning right here just because, you know, we're going to season the meat later on. Then I'm going to get started on my combiner. So I'm going to add some milk and some eggs in my mixing bowl and make sure that that's fully blended together. Then I'm going to add in some breadcrumbs. Now your breadcrumbs is definitely up to you on your choice. It's just a combiner just to make sure that your meat comes together when you're making your meatloaf. So I'm going to be adding in some ground beef. Now I did use a 90% and I think a 93% ground beef, but you can use any kind of fat percentage that you want to. I personally think more fat content is probably better. But anyways, I'm going to add in some seasoning. So you did see the seasonings that I add on there. So I added some garlic, red pepper, and some onion powder, and a little bit of minced onions, some black pepper, and then I'm going to add in some Sloppy Mama seasoning. Now be careful with the seasoning. You don't want to over season it, but you don't want to under season it either. So you definitely have to be mindful of the seasonings. And then you going to put in your onions and bell peppers, and then I'm just going to mix this up together. I'm going to make sure that it's pretty much combined. And now you definitely have to make sure that the breadcrumb mixture is fully combined because you don't want to have bread pieces sticking out. Then I'm just going to take my 2 muffin pans and I'm going to grease that with some butter. And then I'm using an ice cream scoop to add my meat mixture to that. And then I'm just going to fill it up all the way just so that you get a really good size cupcake out of that. And then I'm going to add it to the oven, and then I'm going to bake it at 400 until it's about 160 in the middle. Then I'm going to get started on my potatoes. Now I'm going to make some mashed potatoes as the icing part of the meatloaf cupcakes. So you're going to need a lot of potatoes. So just be prepared to probably have at least 8 made. And then I'm just going to take some water in a pot and add some salt to it. You can use chicken broth if you want to for more flavor. And then I'm just going to add in my potatoes, and then I'm just going to boil those until they're soft. Then I'm going to get started on the ketchup. So I'm just adding some regular ketchup, and then I'm going to add in some hot sauce for some spice, some parsley, and some onion powder, and some garlic powder. And you guys can use any kind of seasoning that you want to. You just don't want to add plain ketchup on top of your meatloaf because ketchup really just doesn't have that much flavor. So after I finish making the ketchup mixture, I'm just going to take my meatloaf out of the oven, and it's not going to be fully cooked, but you're going to put your ketchup, I would say about 3/4 of the way finished, and then add it back to the oven. Then I'm going to get started back on my potatoes. I'm adding in some milk and some cream, some butter, some pepper, and then a little bit of salt as well. And you can totally be versatile as to what you want to add to your mashed potatoes. You can add garlic, any kind of flavoring of your choice, and then I'm just going to mash that up until it's fully mashed. And then I'm just going to go ahead and plate my meatloaf. Now your internal temperature of your meatloaf should be at about 160 degrees. And then I'm going to add on my mashed potatoes. I'm using an ice cream scoop. You can use a piping bag if you want to. And then I'm just going to top it off with some more parsley, and voila, there you have it, Meatloaf Cupcakes. And guys, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you so much for watching.